So, you want to start off talking about this Dr. Dre halftime show?
We can. I
And
believe
I'm
that's
gonna
how we
refer
start.
to it as that because just for shorthand, you know what I mean? So many people on the roster.
No, 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 no. I dig that. You can call it Dr. Dre and Friends. I think.
Dr. Dre and Friends, I think that's an accurate assessment. So, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the trailer came out, and I do want to call it Dr. Dre and Friends because we start thinking about Dr. Dre and everything he encompasses when it comes to his career. In the 80s, he gave us NWA. In the 90s, he gave us Snoop, Eminem. And, even his work with Pac was really totally heralded on a numeric. If we want to talk about numbers, Pac did the most numbers when he was associated with Dre. Whether Dre worked on that as much as people think or not, who knows? Whatever. And in the
Right.
2000s, he gave us The Game, 50 Cent.
Right.
2010s, Kendrick Lamar. So,
Right.
yes, he deserves to be the guy that all of this is centered around. I mean, honestly, we don't look at Dre as a hip hop pioneer, but World Class Wrecking Crew, these guys were the first West Coast group to get a major record label deal, or major deal from a record label, excuse me, in the early 80s. And you have to think that to some degree that carried over to the access that NWA was able to have. Similar to like a RZA and Prince Raheem and just being able to make that change over with Wu-Tang because yeah, you guys have had a major record label deal or major deal before, so you know how to navigate a little bit different and you still have those contacts. So
Well,
Dre
you
has
want to
been a
know what?
vessel since the beginning.
Well, you want to know what? To quote Rock Marciano again for the second straight week when you're talking about Dre and RZA and how they came into the game. Well, they seen the game, so they know the inner workings.
Yeah.
So when they came back not only with strong material, but something that differentiated their crews from the rest of the crews as well. So there's something to be said about when Dr. Dre stepped into the door and also how he stepped into the door, because I think it gave him some insight in terms of what needed to be done and what the people were looking for and the labels. Like he found that middle ground, kind of like how I don't know if RZA was looking for that middle ground with Wu-Tang, but he kind of did. Like quick story. You want to know what? I didn't realize Wu-Tang was big. I was in middle school, Mike. I was talking to this nerdy white boy that I used to be in history class with, Mike. And he rapped every word to Killer Hills 10304 for me outside after class one day. And I was like, oh, they're big, big. Like the nerdy white boys are
I
like
don't
in the Wu-Tang.
I don't think that it gets any more balance when it comes to intellectual and street and basically where you want to even throw in like the whole comic book mystique in there than it does
Superhero.
Wu
Yeah,
Tang.
the
They
superhero.
mix they mix nerdy shit with street shit and
Mm-hmm.
intellectual shit in a way that no one in hip hop has even come close to. I guess you could say MF Doom to a degree, but
Mike,
this is different.
rap superhero shit, Mike. They was like
Yeah.
they made rhyming cool. Like it wasn't even necessarily the narrative. A lot of the songs that Wu Tang have that are epic, it's about the rhymes. It's about the MCs. They're superheroes.
And not to mention that they mix in the martial arts on top of that.
That's icing on the cake stuff, Mike. The
Yeah.
fact that and they making acronyms out of it on top of that, like yeah.
Magnad says that Dr. Dre is more than a pioneer. You're right. I would go as far as to saying, in my personal opinion, I think he's the most powerful individual in hip hop that is actively an hip hop artist. And honestly, I don't even think it's close. I don't think for what
I
he's
mean,
done for each decade, and we see
you can go.
isn't this technically the first hip hop halftime show in Super Bowl history? Unless you want to count the Black Eyed Peas. And I don't want to disrespect the Black Eyed Peas, but let's be real. We talking about some hip hop shit. I think this is the first one.
Well, they weren't really doing necessarily their hip hop records when they were
Exactly.
on stage for the Super Bowl. Now, were they? So I get
No.
what you're saying. So I guess under that context, yes. I mean, what I would submit to you is I think musically, I don't think that's a question. He's been the most powerful force in hip hop history, musically speaking. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh yeah. Not even yeah. It's not
Right.
even close.
But
I mean, even
if
if
you're
we
talking
start
about the
talking about the business though, I mean, we could even look at his business acumen and how he's been able to do it with different empires in different periods. And honestly, we can't say that for everybody in hip hop. Because hip hop's one of those things where, on a mainstream level, people have their runs, and then it just goes on to the next person. It seems
Right.
like he's actually been a part of every major run in every decade.
Yeah, he's had something to say about every major run. You know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
hmm Yeah. For sure.
Even if he wasn't the top guy, he was top three.
No, that's what I mean. He's always there. It's like, I mean, so if you look at NWA early on, so let's say you preferred Public Enemy. Well, NWA was right there as a group. If you preferred EPMD, NWA was right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if you was from the West Coast and like you preferred like Too Short or 40 or the stuff that came out of the Bay or Spice One or something like that, when you heard the Chronic, like you was on board. So like that's what I mean about him knowing the inner workings. Dre's music has always gotten every generation on board.
I've never heard anybody say, you know what, man, the Chronic, man, that's all right. I don't fuck with the Chronic. I've never, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain people would be like, certain people will even tell you that they think Nas is boring as an MC or something. I've heard that. I've heard people say that they really didn't like Outkast like that because they were on some weird shit. I've never heard anybody say, yo, the Chronic, man, that shit's all right.
Man, the only thing that I have to say about the Chronic, Mike, and my only critique of it is that I keep telling everybody Doggy Style is better. That's my only critique of the Chronic.
What a critique that is.
Right. Doggy Style's better. That's the critique that I have for the Chronic.
Okay, so what are your expectations?
If Little Ghetto Boy is on Doggy Style, Mike, that might be like number one.
One song could change everything. We've talked about that before too. Let me ask you this, man. Like with this lineup, what are your predictions / expectations for this Super Bowl halftime show? I know it's a loaded question, but I want to hear it from you because I'm gonna give you mine.
Well, I think Mary is the easy part. She's gonna do Family Affair, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
That's
it.
What is Dr. Dre and Eminem's biggest record that Dr. Dre produced? Because you can expect.
I think Forgot About Dre is where Eminem's gonna.
Do you think so?
I think you know what? I think we're gonna hear Stan. I think we're gonna hear Stan too.
That's what I mean.
I think we're gonna hear one verse of Stan or something.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get Forgot About Dre and one verse of Stan. That's my prediction.
I'm gonna throw something different at you. I think you're gonna hear Lose Yourself.
You're right. You might be right. You might be right.
And I think you might hear I'm Not Afraid.
Oh my God, I hope
we don't. I'm afraid.
You know what? For the Eminem fans out there, I hope we don't hear Not Afraid. And I hope we don't hear that Venom shit either.
But Mike, I would prefer if he did actually maybe do Stan. But Lose Yourself is happening, Mike.
I think I've been on.
That's probably how it's going to start.
I've been on record. It could start. I think Lose Yourself could actually open it up. If Lose Yourself doesn't open up the show, it's not going to be done. But I think you're right, though. Mm-hmm. I could see Lose Yourself being the one because, in my personal opinion, I think that's his best song. Well, even though I think that Stan might be his most famous song.
I think Stan is still his best song, or The Way I Am. But it doesn't have stadium flow build up the way.
Yeah, you're right.
That's perfect for stadium flow.
Xavier Logistics says Stan was 45 King. Yeah, shout out to 45 King. He made Stan and he made Hard Knock Life as well. Who produced Lose Yourself? Was that Eminem?
I think that might have been self-produced, but it definitely wasn't Dre.
No, it definitely wasn't Dre. Yeah, I could see them opening the show with Lose Yourself. And I think you're onto something because Eminem was the first person that they showed in the trailer. So they might go in the order of who they showed in the trailer and how.
Well, Mike, they have to bring the other audience in. And so the snippet's going to start with him for the sake of demographics, marketing, advertisement, and such.
Well, if that's the truth, then they might open up with Lose Yourself. Mad Max says Lose Yourself is his best song. I agree. And this is coming from somebody who's very critical of Eminem.
No. You want to know what? That is arguably his most relatable song. That's why everybody in this community thinks it's his best song, because it's the one that we can relate to the most.
I think that's just him at his best, too. And we're going to get to that when we get to this Best Rapper Alive every year, because Complex gave Eminem 2 years. One of the years I agree with, and one of the years I don't agree with. But I will give Eminem that 2002 because I think he was at his best as an MC on the Eminem show, personally.
I want everybody to quote, because I can't see the time where Mike actually gave Eminem credit and said he deserved something. We need to document live. Needs to be documented live. Somebody
it is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 21st, 2022.
He actually said Eminem deserved to be MC of the year.
Hold on 1 second, man. People calling me during the show, man. We live. But yes, he deserved to. Look, if he got Best Rapper Alive for 2002, looking at the pool of what came out that year, the only argument I would give you is the Fix, Scarface. It's the only argument I would give you. But again, 2000, I understand where Complex was coming from, giving Eminem that for 2000. But you're not getting that over Ghostface Supreme Clientele. But we're gonna get into that. I agree with you though. If he opens up with Lose Yourself, I think that's a strong open. They get Eminem out the way. I see people saying the real Slim Shady. You do not want that song played in 2022.
It's very problematic.
That's gonna make him look very bad. You don't want to hear that. I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady at a Super Bowl halftime. Especially when Dre's about to come through with a next episode or a Still DRE. And Snoop's gonna come with a What's My Name. You do not want to hear the real Slim Shady before that. It's gonna make Eminem look very, 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 very bad. His best out is to start off with Lose Yourself. We don't need no rap guy. We don't need no and all that stuff. We don't need that. Stick with Lose Yourself, and you can do a Forgot About Dre and get the hell out of there. Because when Dre comes with his shit, it's gonna be power. Telling people, I told y'all when me and Cooper talking about this on one of our older episodes, man. With the DMX and Snoop Dogg stuff, man, look, you don't want to be matched up with that Dre produced stuff, man. It hits different. Do your strongest shit and get out the way. Get out the way.
So we got Eminem and Mary out the way. Who else is coming along?
Mary's doing Family Affair. Kendrick Lamar. Let's talk about Kendrick Lamar. I don't think Kendrick's coming out with a new album before or around the Super Bowl. That's not happening. I think. What did they have him? What they play in the trailer? Was it Humble? I'd be super surprised if he does Humble. I think he's gonna do all right and he's gonna leave. I think he's gonna do all right. I'm trying to think, what else could he do? What are Kendrick's biggest records, stadium flow wise? Would you say?
Yeah, that's the thing. He really doesn't have what I would call stadium music. That's the thing with To Pimp a Butterfly. Nothing on there is really stadium flow.
Good kid. All right. All right.
I'm about to say, Mike, if you want to talk about effect, about what you want to hear stadium-wise, Mike, Backseat Freestyle, that beat dropping live stadium-wise probably would have a nice effect, but he ain't about to, do Backseat Freestyle at the Super Bowl, so.
I've seen him do Mad City in big crowds, and it's a lot of energy with the yeah. I mean, but I don't think he's going to do that. No. Because there's no chorus there. It's just straight bars. I'd be very surprised if he does that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he does that too. I think All Right is a fair play. Because all his other great records, that's the thing with him. Like, his classic records aren't for this type of event or affair.
Are you on board with me yet in the fact that he's not going to drop anything before and around the Super Bowl?
I told you, Mike, that if I didn't start to see some promo for an album by him when the NFL playoffs started, I was going to start sliding your way. And I haven't seen anything that indicates that he's dropping an album, so I'm going to have to side with you for now that he's not dropping a project around or before the Super Bowl.
J5 says maybe DNA. What do you think about DNA, possibly?
I love DNA.
I like DNA, too. I like the energy of DNA.
DNA's one of his best verses, too, actually.
I don't think he's going to do it, though. I don't think it's notable enough.
Breath control wise, it would be nice to do that stadium wise. If he can pull that off, that would be the feat of it, is him pulling that off like at such a big event moment wise with the delivery and the cadence that he has on there, how much breath is wind it would take probably, you know?
I think sonically it would be a better record to do than All Right. And like you said, when you talk about breath control,
Yes.
because, you know, those runs that he's doing on All Right, I don't know how well they're going to translate in a live stadium, you know, to halftime.
I think he's used to doing those runs with that song though, because that probably is the song that he's performed the most for a large audience.
That's true. Well, 20 of them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sold. Some are karma coming heavy, no preliminary. Here is on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster. Silence for the record. I mean, but it's like DNA hits though, where it's like, I got loyalty. Yeah, like it has an energy that's different. I would rather him do DNA if he, but I don't know. I don't think that he's gonna do Humble though.
That's what I'm saying. Is that for this though?
Exactly. I don't know. But I know one thing: we're not getting no new Kendrick Lamar music before and around the Super Bowl, and that's unfortunate because when you're on a stage like that, that's such a great opportunity to put out new music. Like everybody's gonna be watching, and I know we're gonna be watching for other reasons because it's a whole cast of people. And I think, look, let's keep it all the way real. People gonna be checking for Kendrick Lamar, period, regardless. He could drop tonight, and people will stop what they doing and check for it. That's the one thing that's sneaky about this too. I know you said promo or whatever, but he never does that. Like when he was about to drop Damn, he let people know like over a 48-hour period.
No, I'm glad that you said that because that was some of the sentiment I had about your thoughts, which was that he doesn't have to do anything but drop. Like that's it. Like he can just drop. He's one of the people. I'm dropping something. All right, boom, on board. Everybody get in the boat. So he still has that in his favor, you know. But like I said, Mike, every time some more time goes by, it raises the expectation level for the product that you're about to provide, and the expectation level is already high based on previous products that you've provided.
I mean, he's already fighting against himself and the fact, like you said, the albums that he's put out over a certain period and, you know, continuously following it up so well, he's already raised his standards so high, but to wait for so long, the expectations are just, you know, I don't want to say detox-like, but yeah. To the point where it's not detox-like, but in a sense where it's like they're very unreachable and unreasonable. And they get more unreasonable as time passes on.
I don't think that it's unreasonable, but here is what was in his favor is the fact that for his era and for the time that he was putting out albums and projects, well, he was clearly the best album maker making the best albums. But what I'm keep on trying to say is that if he drops a product that is on the same level as Damn, that's not going to cut it based on projects that we have heard since Damn came out. Damn isn't setting any sort of bar or standard that people haven't matched or exceeded because there are albums that, quite frankly, I think are just as good as, and if not better, in quite a few. And so what I'm saying is that when he steps back into the fold, in order for his spot to be what it was, which was at the very tippy top, he has to make a product better than Damn because the competition has made product better than Damn since Damn was released.
To piggyback off of that, and you bring up some really good points, I think where he really falls behind is sonically. Like, he's dope. We know Kendrick Lamar can spit this, that, and the third. But now you're going to have to be ahead of people sonically. And when you haven't been out there and you haven't been active, you haven't been doing features, and how quickly the game changes and how quickly sounds and all that stuff changes, it's like you're going to be behind sonically regardless, unless you're just working on some production that is so far ahead of the game that, you know, people just can't conceive it right now. You know what I mean? Like, staying active is what keeps you current sonically.
Here's what's to his advantage. Because he's Kendrick, he can call on anybody at any drop of a dime and get something fresh sonically. So I'm not concerned with that necessarily. Because of his stature, because of his status, it's kind of like what Nas just did with Hit Boy. He can kind of do what Nas just did with Hit Boy. He can call anybody and be like, hey, give me a track. You want to know what? I like that record. And you start vibing, be like, make my album. And they're going to be like, yep, okay. He can do that. And so I'm not worried about the freshness of the sound because he can go get who he want when he want. It's just a matter of time with certain guys. You know what I'm saying?
You think he'll just get one producer to do the whole thing? Because that seems to be, you know, where a lot of people are going.
He's usually a leader and not a follower, so don't necessarily expect that from him. I mean, don't most of his projects usually have about 3 to 5 producers?
Yeah, and Soundwave normally does a whole bunch of it, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, he went ahead and just got Soundwave to do a whole project. Because even when he does get a Mike Will made, they actually fit into the fold of what the production style is anyway. Because you don't even think of Boy Wonder doing Black of the Berry. That fits in everything else that was going on. You know what I mean? Well, okay. I think we know what Snoop and Dre are gonna do, right? Y'all seen Up in Smoke. I mean, I had that DVD and everything.
Deep cover, Mike.
You think they're not gonna do no deep cover at the Super Bowl? Yeah,
Cover.
that's not happening.
Mike. That's Mike. In my hip hop dreams, that's really how the Super Bowl halftime show starts off. It doesn't start off with "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. It doesn't start off with "Family Affair" by Mary J. Blige. Mike, we need to address all these tenuous circumstances going on. Mike, a little deep cover.
You know, in my dream circumstance when it comes to these guys, because I've said for 10 years I want Dre and Snoop to do the Super Bowl halftime show. My dream scenario.
You've been posting that on social media for too damn long.
In my dream scenario, they handle this thing by themselves. I think that what's going to be the weakness is the fact that they haven't been able to. They haven't been allowed. Excuse me. To handle this by themselves. So they're going to have to rush through some great records. You know, we're probably going to get next episode, hopefully. We're probably going to get What's My Name from Snoop.
Though? Are we without Nate Dogg here, though? Are we getting next
episode? I don't know. I know we're getting Still DRE. Yeah, I hope we don't get Drop It Like It's Hot. And I love that record, but I hope we don't get Drop It Like It's Hot. I hope Snoop sticks with the Dre stuff.
Mike, I would actually love to hear What's My Name.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who Am I? Yeah. What's My Name is the song.
I'm cool with Still DRE and What's My Name.
I want to see Still DRE, What's My Name, Gin and Juice, G-Thing, Let Me Ride. I'm asking for way too much. And next episode.
That would be the whole show. That's what I'm saying. We really just want Dre and Snoop.
G-Thing's got to get played. Yeah, J5's like G-Thing. Yes, of course. G-Thing is probably, a top 10 hip-hop song all time?
Easy.
I
think the argument is if it's top 5. Like, it's in the top 10 easy.
Yo, we posted on According to Hip Hop yesterday. I got this from my guys over there On This Day in Hip Hop on Instagram or whatnot. But anyway, yesterday made 30 years that the Lakers beat the Supersonics. And it was that day that Cube had that day that he was talking about. And I realized, you know, just from everybody's comments and all the stuff that they were able to spin off of just that one post, that's one of the greatest hip-hop songs ever. Everybody knows exactly what happened to this man on January 20th, 1992.
Yeah.
To the point that people even tracked down the actual day based on the NBA score.
I had the Bushi at the Chronic. Lakers beat the Supersonics. Everybody knows. Right.
Nobody he knew got killed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything. Mom was cooking breakfast with no hog.
Right.
It's what we're supposed to do in hip-hop, right?
We fucked around, got a triple-double.
But see, he got the triple-double in the previous week. It wasn't actually on that day. But, yes, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl halftime show. I think that when the lineup was announced, everyone assumed that Kendrick's going to be coming out with something, so that brings some excitement too. I mean, ever since we've been doing this show, we've been waiting on the Kendrick release so we could talk about it. Kendrick hasn't allotted us the opportunity to do that yet. I still don't think that opportunity's coming. I actually see a new Eminem album coming out before I see a new Kendrick album coming out. Mary's dropping. She's dropping around the Super Bowl.
Well, Mike, they're all about the drop projects because, well, it's the Super Bowl, so everybody's watching, and it's a great time to release product. Only person who probably doesn't have to is Snoop.
Yeah, he just dropped something like last month. Snoop drops all the time,
I
so
mean, Snoop just different. You know what I'm saying? It's like
he
you said, I
is.
can go wake up and go make $1 million in a week whenever I feel like it.
He's Snoop Doggy Dog, man.
Snoop
He's
Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Like he could do whatever.
Yeah.
I think he's possibly the most famous rapper of all time. It's either him or Kanye West.
No, it's Snoop.
I
It's
think
Snoop.
Kanye West is up there. I think he's up there. You remember when George Bush was coming out of office and he said he got on Good Morning America or one of those daytime shows and said the lowest point of his presidency is when Kanye West said George Bush doesn't care about black people.
No, and that's granted. Great culture piece, great culture moment. But in this rap thing, I will tell you something. We talked about numbers and how numbers don't matter. Well, I'm going to tell you the one time numbers did matter. It was the first time a rap album ever hit #1 on Billboard. And that was Doggy Style by Snoop. And I think it was #1 for like 3 or 4 weeks. And Gin and Juice was #1 on the hip hop rap charts for 6 months, Mike. For 6 months, it was the #1 rap song on Billboard's hip hop charts. And Snoop moved 5 million records at a time when guys were happy to sell 500,000 copies. Like you were
Snoop Dogg
legendary.
is a star.
So when I'm saying that he's the most famous rapper ever, he made this rap shit famous more than anybody ever did, Mike.
He's a household name. He's a household name.
He first, Mike, he's rap's first real household name. Like real household name.
I think he's known for being more of a personality than the actual music. And we could say the same thing to a certain degree about Kanye, but you were at Mercedes-Benz Stadium when Kanye did his listening event. You saw how people showed up just to hear some music that they didn't even know what it was going to sound like. This is new music. Like there's not anybody else. I don't think there's anybody else out there that could do that. Somebody argued me today that they thought Drake could do that, and I was like, I don't think he can because it hasn't happened.
Mike, I will tell you this. It's a different effect when you got Snoop, but Snoop packs the house. Remember when Snoop came down there for the Up and Smoke tour and came down to Lakewood?
Oh, yeah.
My pops took me there for my birthday when I was 20. I think I was 2021 when they did the Up and Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop that dude. Like,
He a star.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, truthfully, for me, Mike, Snoop's show was better than Kanye's show. His live show was better than Kanye's show. It wasn't in a stadium. It was at Lakewood, granted. But if you want to talk about, like, a crowd of people, Mike, of thousands of us, chanting every word to a man's song, like, not one or two people, Mike, the entire crowd for the entirety of the show where he has his set to the point that really this nigga don't got to rap on stage if he don't want to.
No, he don't.